Hello, welcome. This is Blockchain Bloom, the blockchain educator. I'm Attila Pinke, and in a couple of seconds, Davinci Jeremie is joining us because this video going to be an interview with him, with the man who bought Bitcoin on $1 and talked about Bitcoin on YouTube already back in 2011. So at a very, very early stage. Since that, he's educating people about Bitcoin. So we're going to talk about Bitcoin, about his future plans, and many, many interesting things. So let's do it. Jeremie is here, the man. I think you are a very, very important figure when it comes to Bitcoin crypto education and also education on YouTube about this topic, because you were definitely, I guess, the first person or one of the first person for sure who talked about Bitcoin on YouTube. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was one of the few people that were talking about Bitcoin. I mean, there was other people,
Hmm?
some other people that I did this. I did copy somebody's video and put it on my YouTube channel, who was also explaining it and to people, and people were just not getting it. But I knew what it was exactly, and I was so excited about it because imagine, realizing a new invention that that's never thought possible, right? You see the horseless carriage as an example in the past. Electricity is another one, right? And most people, because they didn't see electricity, couldn't feel electricity, couldn't touch it, they really didn't understand the significance of it, right? And the same is happening here with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is something you can't see, feel, or touch, and for them it's just another token, like you could get from or from what's called World of Warcraft, right? Warcraft gold, right? Or the swords or whatever. But it's not, right? That's the key thing, is they don't understand. It's not like some World of Warcraft gold, right? It is actually a token that's on a ledger that's worldwide, and no one can cheat the system. No one controls it. And that is the key understanding that most people have troubles with. Who is selling these Bitcoins? Who owns these Bitcoins? How does that work? They don't understand it's a digital asset that exists like gold, but it's digital. And that's the key understanding that's really difficult for people to understand.
Yeah, I think you're definitely correct. And actually, you are also legendary because you bought or mined Bitcoin around $1. That's correct as well, right?
Yeah, I both bought and mined it, right? I first started buying a whole bunch of it. And then after I got to like 2%, I realized, oh, I shouldn't invest more than 2% on any one idea, business idea, because you never know if it could go to zero. And I was like, because I don't know if the math is 100%, but I think believe it is, right? Um, because there's always a chance, right? That's why Satoshi left 1 million Bitcoins lying around, to see if some, person, some idiot savant or somebody can take those Bitcoins. And if they could take those Bitcoins, the math is wrong. So, so that's why
Yeah,
he did that, right?
right.
So there is no way, as far as I can tell, because hash is a one-way encryption, right? There's no way to reverse that, right? A hash. And because of that, there's no way to reverse a hash. Well, you can't really take those Bitcoins at any point in time. Even when the encryption, which is ECDCA, right, that was used at the time, um, if that is ever broken, right, which is like a 256-bit encryption, which will take, a few thousand years before computers actually existed to break it, right? This Bitcoins are still safe. That's
Right.
the key thing about those Bitcoin. Those million Bitcoins will still be there, even when the encryption's broken. And that is something that people really can't grasp as well. That the whole design is to make sure that your wealth is safe in certain guarantees in the future. For example, Satoshi knew that an encryption can be broken, right? So he designed it with the encryption being able to be replaced, right?
Right.
Um, and so, but a hash can't be broken, right? You can't come up because a hash is a lossful encryption algorithm, meaning that you lose a bunch of data. So there's no way to get back to the original data, right? Can't get back the original value at all from a hash, right? You
Yeah.
can only take the original value and produce the same hash, right? So basically, you're taking some data and then you're converting it to a large number, right, which is your address,
Mhm.
and then that number, which is large, can't go back and get you the original data, right? That's how a hash works, and so people need to understand that concept, and that's what your address is. And with Bitcoin, what it does by default, right, when we designed it, is that once you spend money to spend money from that address, it does not save it, send you back to change in that address, or you should not reuse that same address. It sends it to a new address. The reason it does that is if the encryption's broken, you don't want to leave it on that address because that person could now take the funds that are at that address if they have the public key, which is provided only after you spend the funds of Bitcoin. So that's what some of the things I saw, and I was like, oh, okay, wow, he thought of a lot of things that would have been disasters in the future. So he really was looking out for that. So I was pretty impressed, and I saw that what now you have like just making it all these complicated things are cool to make sure that this is going to work for a long term. But the key thing we have is money that can be transferred to anyone in the world, and no one can see you have it. I could walk across the borders with billions of dollars and no one would know. That is what I was trying to portray to all the silver and gold bugs that were out there at the time. The key thing is you have an asset that you can leave it in your brain, you can leave it on your computer or on your phone, and nobody knows you have it. They can't smell it, they can't taste it, they can't touch it. Right? As far as they're concerned, you lost it in a boating accident.
Yeah. But to be honest with you, to understand the whole thing, the whole concept on this level, you should have some kind of background, to realize this, because so many people, even when they read the white paper, they just don't get it. So, what was your background? Because at the beginning, if I'm right, your channel was mainly about silver and gold community. So
Yes.
at that time, you found Bitcoin. You can tell us actually how did you hear about first, and also what's your background to understand it in such a deep level right at the beginning?
Well, the first thing is that my background is in computer science, right? And I'm a software
Right.
developer. Been a software developer since I was like less than 11 years old. I was like,
Oh.
8 or 9 years old, actually, now that I think about it. I had a VIC-20, and I was using that as a programming. VIC-20 had 5K. And then I went on to program on different computer systems. And then um, I was such into computer programming. I remember that at the time when I realized I had to like look into how our monetary system was broken, I was working full time at a job programming, and then coming home, and my hobby was making software to make it easier for me to program.
Okay.
So, so I was deep in it, right? So then I saw that a presidential debate and said where Ron Paul said our monetary system was unfair, transfers wealth from the poor and the middle class to the rich.
Mhm.
And that started my journey to realize, well, wait a second, that's not right. That can't be true. But it turned out it was true. And then I began to learn why, and I learned all about how money works. And I realized that everything that we learned about money was hidden from us. We just have no only basics that we can go to the store and buy stuff with it. Right? That's
Yeah.
it. And so that is the level of our education, right? So, yeah, there is a whole gap in our education. The reason why is because, well, if you can invent money that you can print for free, and then you start printing it for free, the first thing you probably should do is make sure nobody knows that you're printing it for free.
Yeah, that's right.
so, so, so yeah, by controlling the educational system and making sure that nobody knows that, well, now we're here today, and people just assume the system is legit and honest and fair, and when it's not, it's the worst system ever. It's a system of slavery, of despotism, and it robs from the most destitute people on the planet. Anyone making, less than $10 a day, right, is, or even $10 a day, right? You are going to suffer because prices are just going to rise up because the people at the top, they're printing more money and sharing it amongst themselves, which is robbing you. And so I understood that, and I was explaining that to people and how they can use gold and silver for that, for as a replacement. And I told them we couldn't use gold and silver in the future only because we've seen it fail, right? It's only to protect us from the failure of money, right? Which is coming eventually.
Mm.
But to use it again is a bad idea because we need somebody to trust in to hold the gold and make sure that they actually have gold. And we've already trusted government to do that, right? Only gold and silver, the highest law, only gold and silver is money in the United States, yet it's not. Right? So the government ain't gonna, ensure that that gold and silver is going to back up the money. And with that said, you have to have some sort of money that doesn't require a trust system of an individual or corporation or groups of people trusting them to ensure its purity and fairness. So, math is a way to ensure purity and fairness because it's absolute. It can't be changed. One plus one will always be two, right? I
That's
mean,
right.
we could try to trick people and explain to them it's not. The truth is always there.
It's there. Yeah. And actually, thanks for people like you and some others who were on YouTube, at the early stage of Bitcoin. You guys talked about it. And now, because you actually had an understanding of the monetary history by the time you found Bitcoin, if I'm right. And as your background, you're as a computer programmer, developer, you also could see how this whole thing, match up. Because as far as I know, you have worked about something kind of similar already, but you couldn't figure out this double spending and this kind of problem. Is that correct?
Actually, yeah, that's true. I did try to build something similar during the time that I was like, and to my fault, I should have kept going at it because then I would have actually stumbled across Bitcoin sooner, right? But I was like listening to all the different developers telling me, yeah, it's impossible. Can't solve the double spend problem. You're wasting time. That's the computer science problem that's always existed since computers have come into the to use to popular use. And so there's no way you can solve this problem all of a sudden, is what I was told. And at the same time, Satoshi had already solved it.
Right. But actually, I think this was very important that you realized at the early stage how important is this. And what you think, apart from, you have mentioned a couple of bonuses already about Bitcoin, but what could be really Bitcoin's future apart from storing value and all these kind of things? What if, a lot of people will have access to crypto, using Bitcoin? Could be there another layer, maybe?
Yes, I believe there will be other layers. Unfortunately, some of the layers will be fraudulent, right? Because
Mm.
that's the human nature, right? Someone's going to say, "Well, I need to gain access to make some money, free money, right? So how can I do that?" And so that will always come in to our system, and no matter what system we produce. And so eventually there might be another layer where they actually say, "Okay, well, it's Bitcoin, but it's not, right?" And they create more of it, right? So they'll do it in some surreptitious way, so you can't see it. but eventually it will come, and hopefully people will recognize it. And my future goal is to ensure that this kind of system, right, this fraudulent system where you can create money out of nothing, never comes back to humanity, because it is effectively like slavery. And since last time I checked, if we asked everybody, including your audience, can we vote on making another set of people slaves for us? And I don't think anybody would vote for that.
Mm.
So why are we going to let wealthy people make us slaves? Are we going to vote for that? Please don't. by
Yeah.
by accepting money that can be created by them, right? So that's all I would like people to do in the future, and to understand that and go, yeah, I see your system there, but I'm not going to vote for that because it's going to enslave everybody else in the future. And you have to be careful because they always put it in horse, right? So, for example, XRP, I feel, is one of those, because there's only a few nodes, right? And same with Ethereum, but Ethereum, at least they tell you this is not supposed to be money, right? So don't treat it like that, right?
Yeah.
Whilst XRP is trying to be useful as money, right? And so they're trying to use it with banking systems. They're trying to use it with money, right? And so that is sort of like a kind of like fraudulent towards people, because eventually the rules of that system can be changed, because only a certain number of validators, and we had a debate on that on Mr. Yan's podcast, right? Yeah, there was only a small number of validators, which all can be corrupted, right? And you know what? The Federal Reserve's decentralized, right? There's 13 validators, right? 13, they all seem to vote the
Not a
same way.
lot.
Bring more money.
Well, actually, governments have now realized they cannot really stop Bitcoin, but I think they really worked on it to slow it down. I think this is the only thing really what they can do. Or what do you think about this?
Yes, of course, right? Governments can only slow it down. They can't stop a technology whose time has come. They know this, but they will certainly try, right? They have to, because, I mean, you have a money printer, and you don't want to stop using that. So you will fight to keep using that as long as possible. Right? It only makes sense.
That's right. And actually, how Bitcoin changed your life? Because financially, because of Bitcoin, because other things you have done very well. But what is right now your future goal? The reason why you kind of wake up, every day and you say, okay, I've reached this, but what makes you move, to the next and the next step?
Well, I said it before, right? It's to hopefully one day find a way to educate the masses, sort of like almost like the Indians who hold gold, right? And most of them don't understand why. Is because throughout history, they've had the most number of hyperinflations. So it became part of their religion, because people would forget, because they're dummies, right? They'd forget, right? That, hey, if they could print money, they could wipe you out. Right? I don't understand. I have to look through history. It's been done over and over and over again, without any exception of people going, hey, yeah, I know what you're doing there, right? Not once, right? So I want to have that part of our whole culture to say, what? You want to create money out of nothing, right? And allow it to expand the supply? No, I don't think so. No, we don't play that, right? Right? So I'm just struggling to figure out the best way to do that. I don't think religion is the right way personally, but maybe it's the only way, because even some of my good friends who don't believe in Bitcoin, they hold a lot of gold because they're Indian, and they're upset about that. Oh, I don't know why I have to hold all this gold. It's stupid religion. Yeah, your religion is protecting you from what's going to happen eventually.
So you have good friends, but even with your knowledge, you couldn't really convince them about Bitcoin. They're still skeptical about it after 15
Mhm.
years.
Yep, believe it
Yeah.
or not.
That's really interesting. Um, okay, so you definitely see a bright future for Bitcoin because of all the things you have, mentioned. And I wish you good luck with this education while I'm doing here in Hungary. It's also, part of it, doing these videos. And I think it's very, very important. Unfortunately, there are lots of scammers and, these kind of people also in this space. So it's a difficult job. Do you have any kind of prediction for Bitcoin for this bull market or in 10 years time, kinda?
Yeah, I really believe that Bitcoin will do extremely well in this bull market, and we'll probably see anywhere from 200,000, maybe
Mhm.
close to 500,000. We might end up doing something actually crazy stupid this time around because businesses, corporations, they're watching Michael Saylor and going, "I want to be like Mike." so, so if they jump in heavy to be like Mike, which we've seen that in the .com, right? We just need a .com kind of bubble happening, and yeah, Bitcoin could go absolutely massive amounts of valuations, like in the millions of dollars just from that, because people realize, well, wait a second here, my stock price will go up, and since every single CEO for a public company was only beholden to the shareholders and to get the share price up. And this is an easy way by buying an asset that doesn't, cost them anything to hold, zero cost of holder. It's like, I think I might do
Yeah,
that. So,
definitely. Where you see the peak at this bull market could be time-wise. So are you guessing next year some point or even later?
you know, I I would say that we probably just have the normal cycle, but
Right.
there's always a chance that we can just have an abnormal cycle where Bitcoin just goes absolutely crazy because of money printing, right?
Mhm.
All these businesses have access to unlimited amounts of money that they can print and watch their stock price go up. And as their stock price goes up, they can print some more. And as their stock price goes up, they can print some more, and
Mhm.
and so on and so on and so on. So it is it is a it can be, Bitcoin can actually do something absolutely beyond what we all thought possible in the future. So that's why I'm holding it. That's why I keep buying more. That's why I'm saving it, because I think there will be a day where Bitcoin creates the biggest bubble in the history of mankind that will never ever be repeated.
Right. Well, sounds good. Davinci, thanks a lot for your precious time and thanks all about these things, what you have explained. And I wish you the best of luck with your goal because I think it's a big one. But yeah, we should aim for big goals. I agree with that.
Exactly.
Thank you very much then. Bye bye.
Yeah.